Hello Orchid Maniacs, this is Yeva, and today is gonna be a video about my Zygopetalums. One of you has asked me to make a video about care, and I cannot guarantee that I care for them exactly the right way, but so far at least they are not dying for me, so yeah, today we're gonna talk about that. As you can see, this one has bloomed and now the blooms have faded already. And it had another new growth, but this new growth didn't have any flower spikes. And now it's starting another new growth right here. If you can see it. There it is. So there might be some flower spikes, but I'm kind of doubtful because Zygopetalums need a significant drop of temperature at night in order to bloom. So having them indoors for the winter, it isn't very easy to achieve this kind of drop of temperature. Then in literature you can find that they need almost 10 degrees Celsius drop of temperature. And I have two Zygopetalums, but let me show the other one. That's the other one, but this one is new. I've only got it since last winter and it never bloomed for me yet, so I'm gonna talk about the one that I have for 4 years now, and only bloomed twice for me. But at first I didn't care for it properly because it was sitting here, and by here I mean this is my cooler growing space. It's up the stairs at the top of the house, and actually this glass structure works as a greenhouse, but it isn't heated, so in winter it is quite cold in here. And normally if the sun doesn't shine, the temperatures in daytime is about 18 degrees or 19. Of course when the sun comes out it gets warmer, and at night it can drop to 15 or 16 degrees. So it's quite okay for plants that need cooler temperatures. So yeah, that's where I keep it for the winter, and in summer of course it goes outside, and this one is one of the first plants that ever goes outside together with my Cymbidiums, because Zygopetalums and Cymbidiums are actually frost tolerant and they can handle around 0 temperatures. Of course I don't risk it that much. I wait till night and temperatures get above 0 and then gradually bring them outside. And in spring I'm gonna make another video about bringing the orchids outside because, well, it would be too long explaining in this video. So yeah, that's the temperature I grow it in. And now watering. I water it almost like my Oncidiums. That means I let them dry out a little bit between waterings in winter, and in summer I water them a little bit more than my Oncidiums because they do need quite a lot of water. So, but still I would let the media almost get dry before another watering. And I have it in a chunky bark, and there's nothing more in it, just the bark. And now this media is kind of broken down. I'm gonna have to repot it soon. Well, in terms how many times per week, so in winter it happens about once a week or even once every 2 weeks, and in summer it sometimes becomes as often as twice a week if it's really hot. But as I said, I kept it here, and I had some misfortunes with this plant because I grow my Cymbidiums here and I didn't have any Masdevallias then, and at one point I forgot to water it for almost a month because I wasn't watering my Cymbidiums, and the plant shriveled quite a bit, but it still survived. So I think they handle dryness better than overwatering. Alright, now fertilization. I fertilize it with almost every watering, sometimes less. It depends, because in winter I usually water my plants with aquarium water, and at the same time I don't use orchid fertilizers. And this year I'm trying to get more into proper orchid fertilizers instead of aquarium water, because the aquarium water doesn't contain all the nutrients that the plants need. So it contains too much nitrogen and too little potassium and some other things like iron. So yeah, I'm getting into watering with orchid fertilizer now. But I still use some aquarium water every now and then. So now, regarding light, as you can see, it's quite bright up here, but now it's December and we have only about 7 hours of daylight in the shortest days. So, and it's not really sunny, so as you can see, it's raining all the time or snowing, and it's quite normal for Lithuanian weather in December, so it doesn't get all that much light. But when the January and February comes, it becomes more sunny and becomes even colder. So I try to cover it, so hide it under some bigger plants or something like that, because if this plant would get too much sun, it doesn't like it, and it's actually quite prone to spotting and to sunburns, as you can see. So if I would to compare it to Oncidium care, this plant likes a little bit colder than Oncidium, but it isn't a necessity. In summer it can go in pretty high temperatures and still be okay with it. It needs to be a little bit more wet than Oncidiums, but that means that I would let it dry out almost to the point of dryness, but without reaching it. So if I, let's say, water my Oncidiums and let them dry out till they are almost dry, this one wouldn't really approach the dryness as much. But it can handle some dryness too, so it doesn't really matter. And regarding light, probably less light than Oncidiums, because as you can see, it's very prone to leaf spotting, especially if water gets on the leaves. Now, humidity. I don't think it cares much about it. It doesn't get above 50% in this spot, and outside it's usually very humid because it rains a lot, and in general we have a high enough humidity, about 70% or even more. Alright, what else did I forget to mention? Yeah, this plant, I don't know how it is with other Zygopetalums, but this particular one blooms from new growth, and the growth has to be pretty small and immature when it starts flower spike. So when the growth is already this size, it's maturing, it's not gonna bloom anymore. And even this growth is already too old, and since it doesn't have a flower spike, it's not gonna have one anymore. You can expect a flower spike from this growth, but it's still a bit too small to tell. And when it's gonna be about, I don't know, 3 centimeters long, you can start looking at it and you might see a strange roundish structure poking from the side of the growth. And that's how the flower spike looks like. So yeah. And now a little disclaimer. That's how I grow my Zygopetalums, and I think they do quite okay for me. But doesn't mean that they would do okay for you if you grow them the same way that I do. Because we all have different conditions. We all have different environments, and it just works for me, so that's how I do it. And one more thing regarding watering. I do not soak any of my orchids. I do not take them to the sink. I just pour some water from the top and let it collect in a tray, and just, well, wait for a few hours and just see if the tray is empty in a few hours. I will probably add a little bit more. If it's not, then I'll wait for another day and remove the water from the tray if it still stays there. So if you would think that it's too much watering, but actually it's not, because the bark doesn't soak up that much water when the water just runs through. So my main goal is to soak up the roots, not the bark, so I just pour the water around, and that's it. And in summer they all go outside, so they all get drenched by rain, and when I water them I pour a large quantity of water through the pot, so they get more water in summer. Well, I guess that's it for today. And thank you all for watching, and thank you to my new subscribers, because I've been getting quite a lot of them lately. I really appreciate it, guys. You really make this channel grow and make my work worth doing. So thank you all for watching, and goodbye.